Hi everyone, I'm going to tell you about what Form 10 IEA is. How do you feel that everything about 10 IEA? So Form 10 IEA is introduced as per Finance Act 2023, right? And what is required is in case if you are a taxpayer and you have income from business and profession and you want to opt out of new tax regime, then you need to fill this form on or before the due date, right? And even if you have to withdraw, then also you have to fill the same form. So if you are a person with income from salary, then you don't need to fill this form, right? And if you have income from both salary and business and profession, it depends on what ITR you are filing. If you are filing your return as business or profession, then you definitely need to fill this form, and you can declare your salary income in that. But if you are, declaring your salary income and showing your income from business and profession as a small income as other sources, then you don't need to fill this form, right? So this is an entire FAQ that is available on Indian income tax website. I'm just showing you a snippet of what is relevant for you here. So this is the first. Then, if you see within this FAQ, it says that if you want to opt out of this regime, this is what you have to fill, right? Um, so these are the forms that have to, if you are filling ITR 3, 4, or 5, you have to fill this form. If you are individual HUF filling your ITR in form 1 or 2, you're not required to submit this form, right? What is really important is can you switch between old and new regime in the next years, right? So any as an individual, right, with business profession, you will not be eligible to choose between the two regimes every year, right? Once you opt out of new regime, you only have chance once more to switch back to new regime. Once you are back to new regime, then you cannot choose old regime anytime in the future, which means this is for now like once in a lifetime option that you have to choose, that once you choose to opt out of old regime and you'll get one more chance to switch back to new regime, then you will never be able to switch back to old regime if you are having an income from business and profession. But if you are a salaried person, you are filling ITR 1 or 2, then you don't need to fill this form and you can still switch between old regime and new regime. So if you have only salary income, you're filing ITR 1 or 2, this is not required for you. If you have income from business or profession, and if you are filling ITS 3, 4, and 5, that is when you have to fill this. So again, similar other FAQs that new tax regime is your default. If you've done any actions in respect of previous years, right, you are required to fill this form again in case you want to opt out of the old regime, right? So if you have filled, wrongly to 10 IEA filled under old regime, you later want to switch to new regime, that is not possible. For this year, you'll have to file under old regime. Next year, you can switch back, right? So these are other FAQs that you can read through. Now, if you see when you are filing your income tax return, right, this is the page that comes where it is asked whether you need to fill this form or not. So if you see here, the 19B in your general section says, what is your method of opting out of new tax regime for the current assessment year? There are two options. Option one is by filling this form 10 IEA where you have income from business or profession, right? Or the other option is exercising the option in return of income only. Form 10 IEA is not applicable. What this means is you will not find any option to excise this in the return of income. What this means is if you are a salaried person, then what it will show you is that how have you opted out in the previous year. If you see here in the previous year, it was not applicable because ITR 1, 2, or 3 without the requirement of form was filled, right? So, but this year, if you're having income from business or profession, or if you're changing your ITR form this year, that is when you have to fill this form. Now, if you see, scroll down further while you're filling, now for this year, do you want to opt out of new tax regime for the current assessment year? If you're opting for yes, then what you have to give is when did you file your form, right? I filed it on 3rd September. And then what is the acknowledgement number? Once you fill that form, and I will show you when you fill that form, you will get a date and an acknowledgement number, right? And then it says, do you want to opt out of new tax regime for the current year? Then this is for set B, which means if you were filing your return as salaried person, then do you want to opt out from the new tax regime? Yes or no. That allows you multiple options, but you don't have to fill this because you're filling form, you're filling the set A. Now, how do you fill this form? Within your income tax website, right? Then you go to e-file where you file your income tax returns, go to income tax forms and go to file income tax forms, right? When as soon as you click on this page will open up, and within this tab of persons with business or professional income, the first form that you see is Form 10 IEA, determination of tax in special cases, which is for exercise or withdrawal of option under section 115 BAC of the Income Tax Act, right? So click on file now. Once you click on file now, this page will open up, right? It says give your PAN number and how do you want to submit it online is the option. And then, what is the assessment year that you're filling for? And then you click on continue. If you want to read about section 115 BAC, you can click here and you can read more about this section also, right? So fill for this, you can read this, and then as you proceed, it is giving you a warning again that this form once filled cannot be withdrawn or revised for the same assessment year. Before submission, you have to ensure that you are sure about filling this form. It cannot be withdrawn in the same assessment year. You might get an option in the next assessment year, right? So what you have to do is this form is for exercise or withdrawal, same form, right? Form 10 IEA. You have to click on let's get started. If you want to read through any of the general instructions or thing you should know, want to know more about section 115 BAC, or if you want to read the user manual for Form 10 IEA, you can read this. Now, as soon as you click this will open up things that you should know before e-filing. They are making sure they are telling you again and again that this option is for business and profession only. If you are salaried, you don't need this option, and if you fill this, there is no option to withdraw it. You'll have to file under, old section only. This is again the same thing. How do you, who should file this, and this should be filed before on or due date. If you are filing a late return, then you cannot choose for this option, right? Again, the point to highlight is if you have chosen this option, then in that assessment year, it cannot be withdrawn. And for any previous year, it can be withdrawn only once for a previous year other than year in which was exercised. Therefore, you will not be, which means this is that the option is once in a lifetime. Again, this option can be exercised in the next year, right? For withdrawal once. So from old to new, and then you will not be able to switch back, right? So read this thing that you should know and click on close. So you go ahead, you file, you start filling the form. It is a very short form. It won't take you more than 5 minutes. Do you have any income under the head business or profession for this assessment year? Click on yes. Are you filing within that date? Yes, this is required to be filled between 31st July, or if you're filing 15 September or the extended date that the income tax department has issued, you are filed to fine to fill this form, right? You click, you choose these options, click on continue. It again asks you for a confirmation that, please make sure you're opting for the intended regime. You will not be able to switch. This form cannot be withdrawn. Multiple warnings at every stage to make sure you are sure that you want to file this form. Click on yes, right? And then you have to fill on any additional informations. This page will open up whether you are re-entering this or you're opting it out for the first time. So I was opting out for the first time. I've chosen opting out and click on save. And then it asks you whether, do you have any units in IFC? These were grayed out, so you don't need to fill this because, if you don't have this, if you have this, then you'll have to fill this relevant section. Click on save, and then, it will ask you for an acknowledgement that, this is your PAN, and you declare that this is your PAN, you have income from PGBP, and then you are entering this information for the section 115 BAC, and then it will show your address. And then if you see here, your basic information, additional information declaration is not done. You can click on preview. You can see all the options that you have filled. Scroll down, proceed to verify, give the confirmation yes, want to verify. You will get options similar when you file your own returns, whether you want to use, how do you want to verify? You want to use OTP or net banking or through bank account or demat. OTP is usually the easiest option, so click on OTP if your Aadhaar is registered. Otherwise, you can do through net banking or your bank that is linked to the income tax website as well. Click on continue. It will say, do you want to generate Aadhaar OTP? And OTP will come on your mobile. Put that OTP, click on validate, and it will again ask you before submitting, are you sure you still want to submit this form? Because there is no option to withdraw it when you start filling the income tax form. So my suggestion would be start filling a draft income tax return for you. Go till the end just before filing. If you want to opt out of this, then you go ahead, fill this form and opt out. You can put a draft or 00 acknowledgement number also while you are filling a draft online return for yourself. You give on this confirmation. As soon as you do, it will say that your form is submitted successfully. This is your transaction ID, this is your acknowledgement number. You'll get a SMS or email as well. Now that is when Later, when you're filling that form again, I had showed you this earlier, that you want to wish to opt out of this new tax regime. You click on yes, this is the date when you fill it. This is where you have to enter that acknowledgement number, and that acknowledgement number is mentioned here on this confirmation in your email and as well as mobile as well. So enter this acknowledgement number, and then you are good to go with this. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this helps.